everyone. This is a very exciting day here at the Business Growers, the podcast that we have known as the No Grow Scale podcast for years is now officially today becoming the Get More MSP Leads podcast. And we will talk about the reason for that here in a minute, but a very appropriate time to have a podcast name change because it is a new day at the Business Growers. And I'm so proud and excited to introduce Lydia Walker, my COO here at the
Hello.
Business Growers, the newest member of our team, and someone that I have quite honestly been praying for and excited about and didn't know it was her the whole time. And here we are today. So, Lydia, welcome to the Get More MSP Leads podcast as my first guest here.
I'm very excited. Thank you. Honored to be number one.
Yes, it really has been kind of a journey. Interestingly enough, when we started the No Grow Scale podcast, which, as you know, No Grow Scale is still a very big part of kind of our methodology here.
Right.
The podcast was broad and open to really anybody who was making an impact in growing their business. And as we have grown at the Business Growers and really turned into this MSP, IT, telecommunications industry, a lot of our content is already focused on really how to get more MSP leads. So it just seemed appropriate. And then here you are today, our newly appointed COO. And just for those of you who may not know Lydia, you probably, if you have been in this industry very long, recognize her. She's got 20 years ish or more of leadership experience across telecommunications, managed mobility, IoT, operational systems development, all the things. And she's built teams. She's stabilized departments and businesses and expanded organizations, and really has always been somebody I've had my eye on just as a leader and somebody I've always looked up to. So I'm excited because I have been saying for well over a year, I just would love to bring somebody on board that I wasn't necessarily looking for. I always say my number two, my partner here, to be somebody who knew marketing, because I felt like I had a good grasp on that. I really wanted somebody who understood our industry and technology and how to run that type of business, and you are the perfect fit. So can you just take us back, for those people who don't know you, take us back. Let's talk about your career. I know that we both look like we're 21, but we have both been in this industry for 20 years. So
That's right.
tell us
So,
how you got here. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. First of all, I'm glad you didn't want somebody that knows marketing because you and I have talked about know very little. Operational has been my entire focus in the industry. We joke that I was born into the industry. My first job that was like a big girl job, telecommunications in Houston. My mom was an office manager for a telecom company and did voice recordings and dispatch technicians. And so I got to do, while I was in school, I got to do part-time customer service. And that really is when I realized that client impact was important. I got to have conversations with customers when they were happy, and I got to have conversations with customers when they were not so happy. And just over the years, once you get into the industry, whether it's telecom or MSP, IT services, anything, any part of the industry, it's such a niche industry that as soon as somebody sees that on your resume or, you have a conversation, we're all so integrated. It was just something that I really was drawn towards that industry just because it changes every single day. It's something new. It's a new challenge. So I got to really move into understanding business and spent most of my time with Altaworx, and who we love and is a client of ours, and we're so excited. Ricky was amazing. We started that business. He started that business in 2003, and it was only three of us. And so I really got to grow in that business as well, go through all of the operational growth, all of the challenges of changing even the way we had got revenue, and going from a, agent only commission based business into now we own the customer 100%. There's a lot of challenges in business. And really in Altaworx, we got to work, we had a very strong indirect model. So we were working with businesses, helping those businesses grow, making those businesses successful as well, using some of the struggles that we went through.
Yeah.
And all those things that we learned from growing that and scaling that business into the business that it is today. So it's been just an incredible time and an incredible ride in this industry and learning I feel like I get to learn daily.
Yeah.
So,
Change. Yeah, that's the same here. So I said that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely feel like I'm learning daily
Mhm.
here too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I love
it's been a lot of fun, building teams. That's probably one of my favorite things to do is taking people who know nothing about the industry and have never been in the industry because it is niche and you can't really just go and figure it out. You have to learn on the job. And so building teams, bringing people in from insurance that are incredibly successful leaders in telecom and in IT today. That's just a really interesting and cool thing to be able to do. And I think that's something that we can only do in this niche industry that we can't do everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
When I've heard just through our conversations over, the last couple of weeks and months, you love growing things. And the business growers, we obviously have a history of, I look back over in our story, watching my mom who loved planting things, just, come to my house and find all of my dead plants and try to really uncover the root of what was going on and try, I'm throwing it in the trash if it looks dead to me. And
Yeah,
I get a new plant. My husband's like, "Why did you just buy moms? They're gonna be dead in a week anyway." And of course
sure.
and I'll just trash them. And she's interested in digging under the root to figure out the cause and can we fix it. And, just thinking of that's never been of interest to me. I'm always a forward,
Hmm.
let's rinse and repeat. Let's throw it out and try to figure out something new. And so an agency friend of mine, I told you this, but he said I want to be the guy that is only involved in new things, big things, and broken things, and I have no interest in broken things. And
Sure.
the thing you said to me was I love broken
I
things.
love broken things. Yeah.
So I really feel like you are, the unicorn that we've needed here to come in and bring your really strong desire to the
Mhm.
industry knowledge and then that strong desire to fix the broken things, both understanding our client better, helping them fix their broken things, and then
Yes.
at the business growers helping us uncover how we can get better and stronger. So do you feel like you've seen any trends? I talk all the time about this no grow scale concept and what it really takes at the foundational kind of root level to
Mhm.
grow a business from a brand strength, digital health standpoint. That's my language.
Right.
But I feel like from what I'm hearing in the clients that you've had and at Altaworx and what you've seen there, I feel like there are some similarities in terms of like growth phases and what differentiates a business that scales well versus one that doesn't. So talk about that a little bit. Like, what have you seen on your side of the fence in terms of what works and what doesn't for a company that's looking to scale, and think about those MSPs that might be listening or tell
Yeah.
that might be
Yeah,
listening.
I think one of the most important things is that you have to know who you are, whether it's who you are in the industry, what your niche is, what you're really trying to accomplish. Those are really important things. You have to, you know, we want to be all things to all people, but that's not always the best thing for your clients. It's not the best thing for your business. It's not always the best thing for your employees either. Just know what it is you're trying to accomplish in the industry. And I think the times that we flailed the most is when we didn't know who that was.
Mhm,
And we get right back on track by saying, okay, let's stop. Let's really understand what we're trying to do and who we're trying to be.
mhm.
And so when you have that very clear goal and very clear vision of who you are as a business, that's when growth really happens because you can very easily go in and say, okay, these are the things we need to accomplish that goal, whether it's people, it's the seats, whatever it is, then you can grow, right? And that's how once you grow, you're going to have all the growing pains, you're going to learn from your mistakes, you're going to shift, you're going to dig into the problems just so that you can make the adjustments, get to the roots, right? What
Yeah.
really is, because rarely are we talking about the actual root issue. We're fixing, we're band-aiding, doing those things. So that growth phase is really important for you to just adjust that, right? Who you are. And then that's how you scale. In that growth phase, you're doing your best to to structure yourself for that scalability. So I think that that's so important to what we've done. I've seen it over and over again. The nice thing about going back and looking at, 19, 20, 20 plus years is you see the times where things weren't working, and it is so patterned, right? The times that things weren't working, we didn't have clear vision. When we couldn't scale, it's because we didn't take that growth phase seriously. We grew either too fast without being ready, without taking the time to really reflect on the things that we would need. And then once we are at that scale phase, man, it's just an incredible place to be when you're like, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
You haven't arrived. You've
yeah,
never really arrived, but you're like,
yeah.
I'm doing it, and I'm doing it in a way that's sustainable to all, right?
And then it just becomes getting better at what you're already doing. It's just
Yeah,
pivots, minor tweaks. It's not, I know we're both very growth minded, so it's never, the work is never done if you want to really be the best in your craft. But, you get to the point where the changes that you're making are not changes that are domino affecting the whole company and you're trying to pretty much rebuild. It's just these small tweaks that you're able to do. And really structurally, operationally, it's the same in marketing, especially in this industry. And I think I hurt some feelings conference last summer when I said, if you have, your trusted IT advisor or something to that effect as the main headline on your website homepage, you sound exactly like everyone else in your industry. And everyone, like, several people were like guilty and came up to me afterwards and they were like, that was us. But it's not that that's not a good thing, but this industry is, and we're learning in the channel, we're learning as our industry is growing. There, are a lot of services that are commodity services and things that if you don't have a strong differentiator, everyone loves to say, oh, our relationship with our customer is the best. That's how you keep clients. That is not how you acquire new clients. And so
that's
that
right.
differentiator, knowing yourself, all those things that are operationally important are equally important to grow from a marketing standpoint. So it's the same but different.
Yeah.
The exact same. Well, I think about you saying that because one thing that we have bonded over the years has been EOS.
Mhm.
And we just did a podcast with my friend Aaron Garcia, who is an EOS implementer for MSPs. So check that out if you have not already. You can look in this YouTube channel and see that. Having both been part of, technology services companies, both of us for, around 20 years. Mine was split into two companies, but yours was one. EOS, I think, speaks to both of us for that reason because it is a high chaos, high stress, high change environment. And both of us have grabbed on. And I think that one of the things that I have learned over the years, and I told my team right before you came on board, is I showed them this terrible graphic that I generated with AI with a picture of me on a boat of us all in the ocean, and there's a hole in the boat. And in EOS language, that hole in the boat represents the fact that I am a true visionary and do not have an integrator. And I know the integrator language speaks to you. Again, I think like we were just similar enough, but also different. We're someone I mentioned, that you were coming on board, and the first thing he said was, "Oh, y'all are the only two people at midnight on your laptops at the bar, at the conferences and things like that." So
That's right.
we're the ones going back to our room to do more work. We love to work
Yes.
again. And our bond of both being growth minded, both being, worker bees, but also this understanding of EOS. So by every sense of the word, I'm that visionary. By every sense of the word, you're the integrator. Where
Yeah.
did you fall in love with EOS and how do you feel like that fits into your role here?
Yeah, so Ricky, CEO of Altaworx, is absolutely a visionary. I mean, he's a wonderful
Lots of practice.
visionary.
Yeah.
Yes. 10 ideas and all the things, and he's so great at keeping up with the industry and always looking forward and always heads up. And when there were just 3 and 4 of us and a small way before we even knew EOS, you just fit into the roles. And I think I just naturally fit into as operations fit into that integrator role for a long time there. And as we grew and we really found EOS, he actually found EOS, and he
Yeah.
said, this is great. I think visionaries really lean towards it because they love that they can get their ideas and they know exactly what's going to happen, and there's structure. And the great thing about EOS is that it takes all of the great thought people and books that we've read, over the years, and it just puts it into an operational process. So I love it. it's process driven, but you just work into those roles, and there weren't really names for them, right? It's just who you are. It's and so that's the great thing about this opportunity to be an integrator. When you and I were at dinner that night and we were just talking, we are sitting around the table and we're just having this conversation. I didn't even know you were in EOS and that you were using EOS, and it's such a strong operational tool for businesses, especially small businesses, small to mid-sized businesses. It fits so well. And so when that's what we bought, we opened up that conversation and just knew that very quickly that that's always somewhere I needed to sit. I
Right.
wanted to sit. I knew I wanted to grow a business again, but in
Yeah.
that integrator role,
Yeah.
knowing that this truly is my responsibility.
Yeah.
And I get to take all of the ideas from this brilliant visionary and find ways to implement them, find ways to filter them so that we stay focused
Not
and
every
we
idea is a good
stay.
idea. I've learned that.
Yeah, no, and that's good. I mean, I love that. I love to solve problems. I'm creative that way. You have such great vision for our clients, for our business, and I think that that's really something that we get to see in this. Now that I've filled the role,
Right.
I've filled the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna really see, we get to put a engine on the back of the boat hopefully soon, and we're really gonna accelerate.
I think to speak to any MSP owner, telecom IT business owner that's listening today, I think that for me, it's been a great opportunity to give myself permission to be the visionary and to
Mhm.
start thinking about because, like you said, when you were at Altaworx and you had two, three, four people, you can't just, the visionary can't just say, all right, well, I'm just going to be the ideas person and y'all figure it out because that person, I'm sure Ricky did, and I have, you got to get head down and do the work.
Sure.
And you do get to a point though, and I've kind of mentored some other marketing agency owners in the same way, is there is going to be a day that you are going to be able to pick your head up and you start to learn that your greater value is not in the work that you've been doing, although it's been important work. Like I said to my team, we have so much opportunity to on the inside, on the outside, at the business growers, but we can't do it with the hole in the boat. And so just I think for those people who either might not be willing to recognize the hole in the boat is your boat,
Mhm.
it's your boat and there's a hole in it and you can't
That happens.
don't try to fill the hole in the boat with, your capabilities that don't fit the job. But that's the first step is recognizing that it's not you that's going to fill all the holes in the boat. And then the second is just getting to a place of growth where you can bring on somebody to really take the lead and be that problem solver.
Well, and one of the things you did, you weren't afraid to say, "This is what I want. I'm gonna wait until it's
Yeah.
right."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that's important too. Know what you want.
Yeah.
Still know, right? Just know what you want, and whatever that looks like, just wait and don't settle for anything else, right?
Right.
So you've been wonderful to say I'm the unicorn, but also at the same time, there's so much alignment. Our strengths are just different. That's the whole point with the visionary and the integrator. Our strengths are different. They're no less important, and together we're going to just do all the things that we set forward.
Right.
So yeah, I'm
And
excited.
two big words for us this year, of course, our team, our big word, and of course it ties into our logo and this growing and the plant and all the things is is rooted.
Hmm.
And our team every week we have a meeting around being rooted. It's tying to our core values. It's tying to getting deeper into the work so that we will not be phased by anything. We can get so deep rooted. And part of that part of the story is you coming on board. But then also, two things that are always in the back of my mind is better results and better relationships with our customer. And that's going to be our focus. You're coming on so that as not a marketer on purpose, you're coming
Yeah.
on as you are our customer. You have been our customer and you understand the nuts and bolts of their business. So that's what I'm excited about. Me personally is just getting better, deeper rooted in our customer, their business, the understanding of their business, so that we can make the pivots that we need to make to get the absolute, best result for them. But what are you most excited about? What are you most looking forward to?
Man, I think so. It's really interesting in all the years when you are in such a small business, and all the years that I was working in this capacity, the one hat I never got to wear was marketing. And so I've been in sales, in sales capacities. I've done
Buckle up.
operational, finance, HR, payroll, all that, but never marketing. For me, it's so important to just always learn something new. So I'm excited to be able to come in and really understand. We've got mutual clients. We had dinner last night with a client that's my
Right.
client that's now my client
Right.
still.
Right.
Those things are really really great because I get to come in and really learn another part of our industry. You could say another industry, but I didn't lose anything. Right? The 20 plus years that I've spent, in IT telecom, I don't lose that. I use that. And that was very important to me. I wouldn't have just jumped into any marketing agency. I wouldn't have just jumped into anything because I loved where I was and I loved what I was doing. And this was just perfect alignment to be able to really come in. And I think that's going to help me deepen my understanding of what our clients need. Obviously, I know their particular challenges. I've been through it. I've lived through it. Um, have worked through it, but also getting the perspective of them understanding who their clients are, right? We went through that, right? At Altaworx, you have to understand who you're trying to target, but just a whole new all around perspective of how to grow a business, right? And I think this was the big missing piece
Yeah.
that I felt like in my career that I didn't get a good focus. Now I get to
Yeah.
really dive deep. I'm
On
going to
your
be an
your
expert
3rd day, and you're
in like 2
probably
weeks.
yeah. Yeah, I see you already catching on, though. You're catching on.
Yeah,
It's not rocket science. It is a lot of, systems, data, understanding. We can't make shifts in our business on gut reactions or feelings, or I
sure.
tell my team, we're not making decisions on vibes. Like that is
That's
not
right.
how you get better results. It's looking at data. And so you're really good at that. So I really feel like, for our clients, for those of you who are already clients, congratulations, you're getting an A player who's one of you that's coming into the team. I was very intentional about making sure that I could, would wait on the right person, and, have been waiting a while, but, I wanted somebody who did have that deep understanding so that we can, um, you know, go along with the vision that I have to just get those better results and better relationships, deepen those relationships. So excited that you're here. You are listening, and you are an MSP, an IT provider, whatever your telecommunications, whatever world that you're in. And any of this sounds interesting or familiar, or whether it's the EOS part that neither of us, sell, we just love it. And so we can certainly connect you with the right people there. Or if you're listening and you're like, hey, I don't have this growth engine for my business, and this sounds interesting, you can certainly subscribe to this podcast. We've got tips galore. We're working on segmenting our podcast into where it was before, which is just kind of conversations with business leaders, into now really truly digging into helping MSP, IT, and telecom get more leads. So, Lydia, welcome to the Business Growers. We've got great things to come. You'll see Lydia at all the shows alongside me as she's absorbing and learning and seeing all of her friends in the industry that she already has. So,
Yeah, I'm so excited.
thank you so much. And you'll be back, I know, soon. So, I'm not going to say
Yep.
this is your last podcast by any means, but
Bye, guys.